She is very difficult to officiate because of all of the contact that's happening around her all of the time. That being said, I was in contact with a number of WNBA coaches yesterday about this topic of the officiating in the WNBA.
Hold on, Rebecca Lobo's comments about Caitlin Clark and the referees are so explosive that WNBA executives simply cannot pretend they never heard them. Because after witnessing the ultimate proof of the Caitlin Clark effect following the WNBA's embarrassing officiating during the Fever Sun matchup, those same officials now possess the ability to damage the entire league completely. Rebecca, a legendary WNBA voice, just raised the loudest alarm. This criticism is far beyond merely logical. She exposed exactly what multiple WNBA players have been whispering behind closed doors regarding the officiating mess. If we've discovered anything, it's that the WNBA has learned absolutely nothing about protecting its biggest treasure, Caitlin Clark. The league probably won't enjoy hearing this, yet somebody had to finally say everything. Let's break down Rebecca's comments and the growing Fever storyline, bringing incredible news while raising massive concerns surrounding the WNBA's decisions. If you enjoy this content, please give this video a like and subscribe today. Believe it or not, over 83% of viewers still haven't subscribed yet. It's completely free, takes only a second, but truly means the world to us. So, have you subscribed already? Awesome. Thank you so much for all your amazing support. Now, back to the video.
The second-year player clearing out that side of the floor, shooting on Stewie, and then watch the reaction with one another. Stewie's left.
Just a few games ago, Caitlin Clark delivered a comeback that left everyone absolutely speechless. She dropped 25 points in the first half, including 3 outrageous logo bombs within 38 seconds. It wasn't merely thrilling. It reminded fans exactly what they'd been desperately missing. Everyone across the league remembered the real leaders.
And Cunningham is down behind the play, but they've got Caitlin Clark. 2 players with incredible Clark, another long 3.
The defining moment was the game that exposed absolutely everything. The WNBA has plenty of stars besides Caitlin Clark. Yet everything revolves around her. When she missed those 5 games, it wasn't merely an absence. It became a complete revelation. Fewer fans showed up. Social media engagement suddenly collapsed. Nationwide interest barely survived. Every WNBA storyline suddenly felt like forgettable background noise without Caitlin.
Here we go with Caitlin Clark, singularly, being missing for the time she was gone, and ratings tanking, 50% in some cases. And then also she comes back and reminds everyone how spectacular she is, and everybody's talking about the WNBA. So if you needed to sort of have it affirmed to you that it is just her, that the singularity of her is what we are talking about and her star power, you got it with this absence and then the way she came back.
Caitlin Clark's return didn't just rescue her team. It gave the entire WNBA a desperately needed lifeline after weeks of falling ratings and non-stop criticism. Her matchup against the Liberty pulled an incredible 2.8 million viewers, making it one of the most watched WNBA broadcasts ever. Meanwhile, the NHL Stanley Cup Finals averaged around 2.5 million viewers. Sure, basketball and hockey are completely different sports, but Caitlin Clark outperforming the championship series of a century-old men's league is nothing short of unbelievable. Somehow, WNBA leadership seems determined to ignore that reality, but we'll get into that shortly. One person who absolutely understands the magnitude of this moment is Olympic gold medalist, Basketball Hall of Famer, and arguably ESPN's calmest analyst, Rebecca Lobo. Before we dive into what she said about the referees, listen carefully to how she described the earth-shaking impact of Clark's remarkable return. Becca, take it away.
Becca, tell me, what does Clark's return mean for the WNBA?
Well, I mean, it means a lot more people are paying attention once again. We know how much Caitlin drives ratings. We know how much Caitlin drives attention on the WNBA. And for her to come back and do it in that way was...
Now, pay close attention to what Rebecca Lobo actually said. People are watching again. It sounds like a tiny statement, but it reveals everything. If fans are watching again, that means they stopped watching before, and everyone already knows exactly when that happened. When Caitlin Clark wasn't on the court. But Lobo wasn't finished making her point. She went even further, explaining exactly why fans returned the very moment Clark stepped back onto the floor.
There at the end of the first quarter, when she had that 38-second stretch where she drained deep three after deep three after deep three, I was just sitting there thinking, I've been around this league since 1997. I have never seen that in a WNBA game. Have we seen players go on runs? Of course we have, but not like that. Not where a couple of the three-pointers are from 30 plus feet. It was an exhibition by her.
That's exactly the point. Those weren't ordinary long twos or routine deep threes. Those were outrageous logo bombs launched from what felt like another zip code. Very few players, if any, can pull that off so consistently and make it look completely effortless, and that's exactly why fans keep showing up. Even Natasha Cloud, who has hardly been friendly toward Caitlin Clark supporters, couldn't ignore reality. The truth is impossible to deny. You have to start guarding her the second she crosses half court. That's not normal by any standard. Just listen to Just Wait until you hear what Rebecca Lobo had to say.
This angle is wild, folks. There's the eye gouge. Watch Mabry. Boom! I mean, come on.
Everything that's been unfolding, not just since Caitlin Clark's return but throughout last season and this one, has become impossible to ignore because we're no longer discussing simple missed calls or tough defense. We're witnessing a disturbing pattern so obvious that even respected WNBA insiders like Rebecca Lobo are finally speaking out. Then came the game against the Sun, a matchup that should have sent shockwaves across the entire league. Somehow, neither J.C. Sheldon nor Marina Mabry was ejected after Caitlin Clark was slammed to the floor with a body check and raked across the face. Yes, Caitlin and J.C. had exchanged words earlier. They absolutely did. But trading trash talk never gives anyone permission to cross the line into physical attacks. You can't expect this league to thrive by turning every game into professional wrestling. Even the commentators sounded stunned. You could hear the disbelief in their voices. They fully expected ejections. Fans, coaches, analysts, and even fellow players were left completely shocked by what unfolded.
Hey, we would have been crashing out RT.
Courtney, if somebody ever tackles you like that,
Nobody would ever tackle me like that. They would play with Bridget like that, and then we would have to like take it up there.
okay.
You see what I'm saying?
But I'm just saying,
Nobody would ever play with me like
if that ever happened, you better crash out behind me, because I'm crashing out behind you.
See,
We can share the same jail cell.
Caitlin Clark's face clawing and shove instantly went viral, becoming everyone's biggest conversation. But this wasn't some isolated moment of chaos. The tension had been building for weeks.
This is J.C. Sheldon right here with an entire handful of Caitlin Clark's shoulder and bicep, and she's twisting it. Okay? I mean, this is wild. Here's the zoomed out look, the snapshot. I mean, this league does not have control of its play.
Then everything boiled over in an instant, and the on-court tension exploded into full-blown chaos. Stephanie White was absolutely furious once the game ended. You could read it all over her face before she even opened her mouth. She finally sat down, took one deep breath, and unleashed everything she had been holding back.
The game has changed so much. Players are faster, they're better, they're bigger, they're stronger. They're as good as they've ever been. They're as athletic as they've ever been. The game is fast now. Things are happening quickly. Everybody's getting better, except the official.
That was probably the sharpest way to call out the referees without mentioning a single official by name. Her message was crystal clear. While everyone else around the league keeps improving, the officiating simply isn't. That criticism cut straight to the heart of what players, coaches, and fans have been dealing with for months. The biggest problem is that this didn't suddenly begin during the Sun game. It's been growing throughout the entire season. The inconsistent officiating, missed calls, and the repeated failure to properly protect players like Caitlin Clark have become impossible to ignore.
What was that play? Oh my God, this is rigged. This is rigged. She got yanked, fell on her hip. That's a hack! That's a hack! That's a hack! Oh my God, they hacked the one upon her and they hacked Caitlin Clark. They are both hacks. They are both hacks. They hacked Fever twice, and then there was a phantom foul called on Sabrina Ionescu.
From the very beginning of the season, it was obvious the Fever weren't getting the benefit of the whistle. But their heartbreaking 90-88 loss to the Liberty pushed everything past the breaking point. That game quickly became the center of controversy for players and fans alike. The officiating looked painfully one-sided. New York kept getting every little touch foul, while Indiana couldn't seem to buy a single whistle. The free throw numbers told the whole story, with the Liberty living at the line as the Fever barely got there. But what truly infuriated everyone were the questionable calls, or complete lack of them, during the closing moments. The biggest outrage came on the final possession when Caitlin Clark never even got a shot off after Natasha Cloud committed a blatant foul against her. Replay after replay only fueled the outrage. Social media exploded. Analysts blasted the decision. Fans were absolutely livid. Stephanie White didn't hold back either. Ironically, after speaking out about the officiating following the Sun game, she was the one who got hit with a fine. It almost felt like the league quietly knew it had made a huge mistake without ever admitting it. Honestly, they should. Because before we even unpack what Rebecca Lobo said, something that could create serious problems for the league, we first need to talk about the growing frustration spreading throughout the WNBA.
I thought she got fouled. I think it's pretty egregious what's been happening to us the last few games. A minus 31 free throw discrepancy. And I might be able to understand it if we were just chucking threes, but we're not. We're attacking the rim. And the disrespect right now for our team has been pretty unbelievable. So it's disappointing, that it doesn't go both ways, or it hasn't gone both ways.
Instead of taking players' complaints about overly physical play seriously, the officials almost seemed to laugh them off. Now let's go back to Rebecca Lobo and what all of this means for Caitlin Clark. Players have reportedly reached the point where they're joking, if this keeps happening, somebody's going to get hurt. And that's where everything becomes truly alarming. If Caitlin Clark goes down, the entire game changes. Deep down, everyone already knows it, whether they admit it or not. The league, the players, the television networks, and the fans. To her credit, Rebecca Lobo didn't try to soften the message either. She delivered the truth in the calmest and most careful way possible. But if you really pay attention to what she's saying, the situation is far more troubling than most people realize.
The second time where I'm attacking, it's very physical. I'm saying something to the ref, watch my landing space, watch physicality. I get laughed at. And it ends in my ankle getting turned. The same thing happened in Dallas. A flagrant that wasn't called. Same thing happened here. So my ankle is hanging in there, but it's starting to get very frustrating. I'm averaging less than 2 free throws a game, and I drive. I'm physical. I'm not someone who's avoiding contact. So I just hope that the safety of players starts to become a priority versus the ego of refs.
Did you catch what Rebecca Lobo actually said? She wasn't talking about just a handful of worried coaches. She made it crystal clear that every single coach she's spoken with believes the officiating has become a serious problem. That's where this situation turns even more alarming. If every coach agrees the officials have completely lost control, then the league has no choice but to step in and make major changes. Otherwise, teams will start creating their own rules. And that's exactly when things become dangerous. Because once the calmest voices begin saying, we'll protect our players if the referees won't, you know the system has reached its breaking point.
She is very difficult to officiate because of all of the contact that's happening around her all of the time. That being said, I was in contact with a number of WNBA coaches yesterday about this topic of the officiating in the WNBA, and all of them said it needs to get better. Specifically, the consistency, not only from one game to the next, but the consistency within.
That's exactly what's happening. It's like telling drivers they can speed as much as they want because there are no highway patrol officers around, and if they don't keep up, they'll get left behind. Right now, the WNBA is creating that exact environment by refusing to improve its officiating standards. Players are being pushed to play even more aggressively because, in their minds, it's become a matter of survival. They also know the referees probably won't step in. We've already seen the consequences. The obvious fouls against Caitlin Clark, the cheap shots, the body checks, and the growing frustration from coaches and fans alike. And if it keeps happening again and again, it stops looking like an honest mistake and starts feeling like a deliberate message. The league almost seems to be saying that taking shots at Caitlin Clark is completely fair game.
Coach told me we tell our players to be as physical as they can possibly be for 40 minutes because we know for 38 of them, they're pretty much going to get away with it. So I think everybody would like to see a tighter whistle and a little bit more freedom of movement.
And honestly, I understand what Kathy Engelbert is trying to do. She wants real rivalries. She even said in an interview that players don't have to be overly friendly with one another. In theory, that's perfectly fine. Rivalries sell tickets, create headlines, and make games more exciting. But when it comes to Caitlin Clark, the WNBA doesn't need manufactured drama or reckless fouls to attract attention. That's where the league is making a massive mistake. It already has the biggest, most talked about, most watched, and most marketable star in women's basketball. And there's a perfect reason why.
And like, they just kept shoving Caitlin. They're like, well, they can't just keep calling fouls. I'm like, they're literally just running around hacking her. The referees have made it like a point that this is how you beat the fever. You hack them. You don't even, it's not being physical. You just hack them. Because the referees are going to allow them to be hacked. Late in the game with the fever, hack them. Not being physical, hack them. Don't go for the ball.
Everyone loves talking about TV ratings whenever Caitlin Clark is actually on the court instead of sitting on the sidelines. We've all heard that story before, but Sophie Cunningham's recent experience might be the strongest proof yet of just how powerful the Caitlin Clark effect really is. The moment Sophie stepped up to defend Caitlin Clark, everything changed almost overnight. She suddenly gained more than 1 million followers across multiple social media platforms. Fans flooded her TikTok comments with support, praising her confidence and independence. Some even admitted, "I guess I'm watching the WNBA now," while others declared they needed a Cunningham jersey immediately. And that's the real story here. This isn't just about Sophie. It's a blueprint. Just as we've clearly seen ratings collapse whenever Caitlin Clark is absent, we've also witnessed exactly what happens when players publicly support her. Fans rally behind them. Their teams receive more attention. More people begin following the WNBA. Sometimes that growth takes time, and sometimes it happens overnight. But none of it works without Caitlin Clark on the floor. Now tell us what you think about the officiating and all the rough play, because this conversation is far from over. I'm not against players getting physical with Caitlin Clark. She's tough, she can handle contact, and she's never asked for special treatment. But going after someone's face the way J.C. Sheldon allegedly did crosses a completely different line. That's no longer basketball or solid defense. That's the kind of play that looks more like an attempt to hurt someone. And when the target happens to be the league's biggest attraction, the player driving television ratings, ticket sales, merchandise, and media attention, the consequences become much bigger than one game. That kind of carelessness doesn't just put Caitlin Clark at risk, it puts the future of the entire league on the line. It's not only dangerous, it's also incredibly short-sighted from both a competitive and business perspective. Candace Parker, one of the biggest legends in WNBA history, summed it up perfectly. She's not telling players to take it easy or stop competing. She's simply saying what any experienced veteran would understand immediately. This is a business, and everyone's paycheck benefits from Caitlin Clark's success. Nobody is asking for special treatment out of favoritism. Whether some players like it or not, Caitlin Clark has become the driving force behind the league's incredible growth. That's exactly why protecting your biggest investment is so important, because if she goes down again, the consequences won't just hurt her, they'll impact everyone. Caitlin Clark isn't just another player helping shape the WNBA's future. She's become the biggest reason that future looks so bright. And if the league still can't figure out how to protect its most valuable star from reckless fouls, inconsistent officiating, and unnecessary jealousy, then it doesn't deserve everything she brings to the table. Because this is exactly what happens whenever people rally behind Caitlin Clark. Television ratings soar, jerseys fly off the shelves, new fans flood into the league, and everyone benefits, from the media and teams to players and sponsors. Rebecca Lobo said what desperately needed to be said. The only question left now is whether anyone inside the league is actually listening. Because the next time Caitlin Clark goes down, the WNBA could lose far more than just another game. Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and if you enjoyed this breakdown, hit subscribe, turn on notifications, and don't miss the next video waiting on your screen.